Whether it was full-color maps, cheat codes, specific help, or comics, Nintendo Power had you covered. I thought it would be fun to take a look back at some of the review scores of our favorite and not-so-favorite games. Blow Away Bagpipes. Scrooge McDuck is our cover boy this month with what I consider to be one of their all-time classic covers. DuckTales is our big feature with a ballooning 12-page spread, and Pete takes us through the first 3 areas with full-color maps that look wonderful. Lots of great Disney artwork here and some good tips as well. Our Dragon Warrior coverage continues yet again in issue 8, and we get a wonderful hand-drawn map of Elfgard to boot. And check out those enemy designs. Those slimes look nothing like their smiling 8-bit counterparts. Very nice. Player's Pulse has an interesting letter from Mark Discordia. He's an NES maniac, and his friends gave him the nickname Mario. He likes the nickname because he shares a lot in common with them, being a fellow Italian and plumber. Could Mark be the first Nintendo fanboy? You decide.
Oh no!
The NES Satellite gets showcased next. Retromat and I had the 4-score adapter, which was almost the same damn thing. We'd have friends over and play 4-player Super Spike V-Ball for hours, and yes, it was actually awesome. It's always interesting going through these old magazines because you see screenshots of things that aren't in the final version. Like the name change from US Championship V-Ball to Super Spike V-Ball, pretty cool. This month in Counselor's Corner we have a myriad of questions, like how to find Castlevania in Simon's Quest, as well as how to find the hammer in Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link. Even back in the day, my brothers and I never had a problem finding it, but I'm sure it was one of their most asked questions during the time. Apparently, Rob Baker in his hobby section put, "People Watcher." That's pretty damn creepy there, Rob Roy. We get a sweet guide through the early and middle parts of Fester's Quest, as well as a starting guide to figure out just what in places to do first. Step 1, get a turbo pad. Step 2, your thumb will thank you later. Roger Rabbit gets some love as well, with 2 maps to help you through the city and the outskirts looking for Maroon's Will. Good luck finding it, by the way. A monumental moment here as the Game Boy is officially introduced with loads of information as well as comics to promote it. Longtime viewers of my channel will know just how much I love the Game Boy, and don't be surprised if I cover the review scores too in the future. Classified information, we get a nice custom password key in 1943 allowing a lot of cool options like ship upgrades and starting on different stages. Mega Man 2, there's an explanation of how to abuse the leaf shield weapon, and its uses for farming 1-ups in Airman stage. Howard and Esther time, the pint-sized redhead takes on Dr. Wily's prized robot, Robo-Howard, in an NES question contest. Sounds like what Retro Matt and I would do from time to time. Lots of fun here. And finally, in our top 30, Zelda 2 has taken back the top spot yet again, number 1, bumping Mario 2 back to 2nd and Ninja Gaiden holding 3rd. It seems these 2 games are in a tug of war for first place month after month, but look what looms in the future. And now, here it is, what you've all been waiting for, our preview section and the review scores. Capcom's Willow starts us off, and while I have the game, I haven't really dug deep into it yet. But what I have played, it is a really good top-down Zelda-like game. People love the soundtrack, and there's tons of movement in the environment, which was definitely not the norm. A 15 is a good score here. The boys from River City make their video game debut in 1989, and what a beat-em-up. It's the natural evolution of the belt scroller that is an absolute blast to play. At a whopping 16, I've got to say I'm pretty shocked the game scored as high as it did. I love this. A stellar movie and an even better game pack. Dare I say this is one of the greatest licensed games on the NES? Yes it is. Funny enough, NP shows us a few cutscenes that got omitted from the final version, which is always cool. It's also our highest placing game at a staggering 16.5, and I couldn't agree more. A football game that my brothers and I had growing up and pretty well taught us the sport. It's leagues slower than both Tecmo Bowl games, but it's a solid third choice. A 14 is about right. Enter a space maze, deactivate the core, and find your way out before you and the fortress go up in smoke. The same fine folks that made Kirby HAL Lab developed this quirky cart. It doesn't look like much graphically, but it is addictive if you put the time into it. I'm cool with the game receiving a 13.5. Honestly, I was never the biggest fan of Sky Shark. It's a competent shooter, but nothing special. I'd rather play 1943 or Life Force instead. A 14 isn't bad, and that's about as high as I would go. If you want to talk about garbage games, Street Brawler is one of the best. This was one of those carts made specifically for the Power Glove, and that's not a positive. Even with a standard controller, this game doesn't handle well. Just avoid it at all costs. An 11.5 is too high, let's try a 9 instead. Not too interested in strategy RPGs, so my experiences with Romance of the Three Kingdoms is limited. I have the game, but it's not my cup of tea. There's quite a few strategy RPGs on the NES, so at an 11.5 for Romance of the Three Kingdoms is okay to me. Castle Quest looks like a fun cart, and I've seen some gameplay of it. You go around looking for keys and trying to delve deeper into this castle. It seems like a puzzle platformer to me, which might be actually up my alley. It wasn't MP's cup of tea though. At 10.5, that's an ouchie. Tying that game this month is Jordan vs. Bird 1-on-1. Well, what can you say? It's a half-court one-on-one basketball game with a few modes to pick from, but in all honesty, I think Hoops on the NES does it a lot better. 10.5, yeah, that's a fitting score.
You're gonna die! You are gonna die! I guarantee it! Jesus!
Well, there you have it. Our big winners this month are Batman, River City Ransom, and Willow rounding out the top 3, while Castle Quest and Jordan vs. Bird 1-on-1 sitting at the bottom. What a bunch of stinkers. Yuck. Next time, it's Nintendo Power Issue 9. 1989 comes to a close with more incredible hits coming out like Shadowgate, The Guardian Legend, and A Boy and His Blob. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Tetris!